Welcome to today's lesson. My name is Wilson Mwangu. In the previous lesson, we learned about double imperatives. Double imperatives. And I said an imperative is a sentence that gives an order. For example, stand up is an order. So that's an imperative. So when you have two imperatives in one sentence, for example, stand up and go out, that is what we call double imperative. In today's lesson, we want to do something different, and that is writing. Okay? We want to write about an incident, about an experience, about something that happened while you were at home. And if you can remember the passage entitled Sidi and Kabetu at home, remember this passage, Sidi and Kabetu at home. These are cousins. So while they were at home, they had been left alone at home. They saw some people keeping items in the neighboring compound. There were electronics, very new electronics, TVs, laptops, and all that. And those people who were keeping items there were a bit worried. They were doing things in a hurry. So these two children got concerned. They suspected that those people were thieves. So they called the police. Okay? And when the police came, they actually confirmed that those people, actually there were 3 people, were the most wanted criminals in the town. So those criminals were arrested courtesy of Sidi and Kabetu. And in the evening, the policemen came to thank Sidi. They came to Sidi's house and thanked her for her action. So that was Sidi's experience at home. Today we want to write about your experience at home. Okay? You have been left alone at home. What's your experience? So that will be our lesson objective. By the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to write about a personal experience alone, personal experience while at home alone, while at home alone. I know once in a while you are left at home alone. Maybe during school holiday, your parent has gone out, maybe has gone to work, and maybe if you're older sibling, or maybe you are the firstborn. So once in a while, you are left at home alone. So what do you normally do when you're left at home alone? I know some of you maybe play video games, you watch TV, you also do a bit of study. But on a day, maybe there's a day when something happens, something unusual happens. So we want to write about an incident, a happening on just a single day. That there's this day when you had been left at home alone, then something happened. Something unusual happened. What was it? For example, you have your pet. Maybe you have a cat as your pet. Now this cat gets stuck somewhere, okay? Maybe it's dipped its head in a bucket or just something in a bottle, and then the head gets stuck in that bottle. Then you try to pull out. You try to rescue this cat, but becomes a bit difficult. So you are forced to call for help from somebody else. that is an incident, an example of an incident that happened. Or maybe you are at home, you are moving down the stairs, then you tripped. Then you tripped and fell and injured yourself. And you could not help yourself. So you are forced to call for help. You had to scream loudly and call for help. And then your neighbor came to help you out. Okay? That is unusual experience. So I want you to write about something that happened while you are at home alone. And of course, it must be something bad. But at the end of the day, somebody else came to help you, and all was well, okay? That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to give you some guidelines on how you're going to write this. Just a short passage of 3 paragraphs, okay? 3 paragraphs. So let me give you some guidelines. So I told you about something unusual that happened. Maybe it even rained heavily on that day, okay? We normally have floods. So you're alone at home, then it rains so heavily that your house gets flooded with water, okay? That is unusual experience. So what did you do? Who came to help you, right? So these are the guiding questions. Paragraph 1, why were you left alone in the house? Okay, tell us, why were you left alone in the house? Where had everyone else gone? So you have your parents, where had they gone? And so why were you left alone in the house? Tell us that in the first paragraph. Of course, you are going to tell us your name. Okay, tell us your name. Come and tell us your age. Tell us your name, your age, and the school that you go to, all right? And where you live, your estate, or the place where you live. Number 2, what unusual thing happened on that day? So on that day, what unusual thing happened? I've said, for example, there were floods in the house, okay? And you're forced to climb on top of the table because the whole house was full of water, okay? That's an unusual thing that happened. Or I give an example of your pet getting stuck somewhere and you're forced to ask for help, okay? Or you tripped and fell somewhere and you got injured, something like that. The unusual thing that happened on that day. So who helped you? Now here we have for example, the issue of the pet getting stuck somewhere. Your cat is stuck somewhere. Who helped you? Maybe the cat was going somewhere to hide up there in the roof. Then it got stuck it got held up somewhere. So you could not pull it, could not free itself. So you had to call for help. So who helped you? Right? Maybe your neighbor, maybe you called your cousin, you called your big sister. Who helped you, okay? And where did they come from? Where were they? Paragraph 3, what did your parents say when they came back? So your parents have come back in the evening. What did they say? Of course, you tell them about the incident, about the happening, that your cat had gotten stuck somewhere near the roof of the house, okay? So what did they say when they came back? And how did you feel? All right? So these are some of the guidelines that you can use. So we're going to write a 3-paragraph story about an incident that happened at home. Please be creative enough, be imaginative enough. Tell us what happened, okay? and your reaction and how you are helped. All right. For example, if your neighbor helped you, what happened after that? Did your parents thank the neighbor? Okay, something like that. So can you be creative enough and write a 3-paragraph composition, a short one of 3 paragraphs, maybe 1 page in your exercise book, okay? Yes. And once you are done, please share with us your response. But as I've said, be creative. Write about what you have gone through, okay? What you have just gone through at home, or what you have seen somebody else go through at home, right? And please share with us your composition. My dear learner, today we are going to write about personal experience. You have been left alone at home, something happens, okay? And then eventually you get helped. You get help from somebody else. So that's what we're going to write about. So my dear learner, up to that point, we shall end today's lesson. Until next time, I've been your teacher, Wilson Mwangu. Thank you so much and be blessed. See you.
How do you do, learners? Welcome back to our lesson. Remember, the topic is still chemical families and patterns in properties. And in this lesson, I want us to discuss the uses of alkali metals. But just before that, in our previous lesson, we discussed the similarity in the metal ions and their compounds, where we say that lithium, sodium, and potassium, they are similar, or their metallic ions are similar because they have a single charge, or they have a single positive charge, which is because they form ions by losing 1 electron from their outermost energy level. Their hydroxides, their oxides, and chlorides are also similar in a way because when they are formed, that these elements with a single positive charge now leads to their formation, and therefore you should understand the valences very well, because the valences are now going to help you to write correct chemical formulas. Therefore, in this topic, I want us to get into the uses of alkali metals. And the uses of alkali metals, I want to give you around 5, and you will look for some other uses of alkali metals and their compounds. Remember, the subtopic is uses of alkali metals and their compounds. It's not just metals, but also their compounds. And one, we can say that sodium is used in manufacture of sodium cyanide, which is used in extraction of gold. Sodium is used in manufacture of sodium cyanide, which is used in extraction of gold. Sodium cyanide is used to dissolve gold from its ore. And therefore, if you have the ore of gold, remember this ore is containing other materials, and this sodium cyanide only dissolves gold, and therefore it helps you in extracting gold from its ore. Second, sodium and potassium sodium vapor is used in street lights. Sodium vapor is used in street lights because of its yellow yellow color, so it's also used in the street lights. Third, lithium is used in manufacture of high strength lithium is used in manufacture of high strength glasses and ceramics. I believe you know what ceramics are. These are just a hard brittle material which is produced through burning of non-metallic minerals under very high pressure. Not pressure, but high temperatures. So lithium is used in manufacture of high strength glasses and ceramics. Next, we have sodium chloride is used as additive in food. Sodium chloride is used as additive in food. It improves the taste of food. It is difficult to take food without salt because you find sometimes it doesn't have taste, and therefore you add sodium chloride that food to make it a little bit tasty. Fifth, lithium chloride is used in manufacture of dry cells, used in mobile phones, watches, and laptops. Lithium chloride is used in manufacture of dry cells used in mobile phones, watches, and also laptops. The next we have molten sodium and potassium are used in nuclear reactors. Molten sodium and potassium is used in nuclear reactors. Those are some of the examples of uses of alkali metals and their compounds. There are many others, and therefore I want you to look for some, at least 5 uses of alkali metals. But just before we end, we want to go through some of the uses. One, we say that sodium is used in manufacture of sodium cyanide, which is used in extraction of gold. Second, sodium vapor is used in street lights. Third, lithium is used in manufacture of high strength glasses and ceramics. I believe you know the function of glasses and also ceramics. Fourth, sodium chloride is used as additive in food. It is used to improve the taste of food. Then fifth, the lithium chloride is used in manufacture of dry cells. Dry cells which are used in watches, mobile phones, and also in laptops. And lastly, molten sodium and potassium are used in nuclear reactors because of their high thermal conductivity. Therefore, that brings us to the end of our lesson. But just before we end, I will leave you with this assignment. State 5 uses alkali metals, and their compounds. State 5 uses of alkali metals and their compounds. So ensure that you've done that. If possible, look for more uses of alkali metals and their compounds. Next time we are going to discuss alkaline earth metals, which is the second chemical family we will be discussing. Let's meet then, but ensure that you've done the work, this question, before we meet next time.
Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello learners, my name is Stephen Kariungi. Today we are going to learn biology, and we are going to start with the first topic in Form 1, and this is on Introduction to Biology. So the topic is as indicated there, Introduction to Biology, Form 1. Now, we'll start on a very basic foundation in that Form 1s learnt a subject by the name science in primary school. But when you get to secondary school, that science is divided into a number of branches, and one of those branches is biology. So it is important, first of all, to explain what shall we be learning or what shall we be studying in biology as a new subject. So the question I want us to ask ourselves is, what is biology? That's the question that I want each and every student to ask himself or herself. Biology is a branch of science, and this branch of science deals with the study of living organisms, also known as living things. So we can say that biology is a branch of science that deals with the study of living organisms. So in this topic, or in this subject, we shall be learning about plants, we shall be learning about animals, and we shall be learning about other living organisms that are in existence. For example, we have some organisms that we call microorganisms, and they are referred to as microorganisms because they are microscopic. They can only be seen by use of a microscope. Things like bacteria, things like fungi. So we'll be mentioning them here and there as we continue, and they are part of the living organisms that we shall be discussing. First of all, I would want us to learn about the branches that we have in biology. Now that we have already learned that it is the science that deals with the study of living organisms. We have two main branches, and these are, one, zoology, which is the study of animals, and botany, which is the study of plants. So we can say branches of biology. And you can see that there are two main branches of biology, and these are: one, we have botany, which is the study of plants, and we have zoology, which is the study of animals. Now, those are not the only branches that we have. We have other branches that are smaller, but we are saying that these are the main ones, whereby we study the plants in botany and we study animals in zoology. And plants and animals, they are part of the living organisms that we are discussing here. Now, it is also important to look at other branches of biology. The other smaller branches of biology, there are many, very, very many. For example, we can have the study of insects under the zoology. We can have the study of birds, still under the animals. We can have the study of fish. We can have the study of so many things, all of them that are covered by the main branch of science, which is biology. Now, we'll just mention a few. For example, we'll mention a branch of biology called microbiology. And this is the study of microorganisms. The study of microorganisms. Microorganisms are microscopic organisms, such as the bacteria. We can have a fungi, etc. These are small organisms that can only be seen by use of a microscope. Then we have a branch called genetics. It is the study of inheritance and variation. We may want to understand where we came from. We came from our parents. We inherited some characteristics from our parents. So, genetics deals with the study of inheritance, what we have inherited, what organisms have inherited from their parents. Also, we have a branch called ecology, and this is the study of living organisms and their interaction. With the environment, with their environment. For example, you may want to study the lions that are in the savannah or the gazelles that are in the savannah. Those are living organisms interacting with the environment that is now in the grassland. So that study is what we call ecology. We have the study of insects. We call it entomology. We have pathology as another study, and this is the study of disease causing microorganisms. We have the study of birds called ornithology. We have the study of fish called ichthyology. This is the study of fishes. The branches are very, very many. We have cytology, study of cells. And we say that the cells are the smallest unit of life. The smallest unit of life is a cell. So when you study the cell, you are studying cytology. So basically there are so many. We have not even exhausted the list that we have. For example, we even have biotechnology. The study of development of techniques that are applicable in various processes we have biochemistry, the study of compounds found in living organisms, study of chemical. So the list is long, but we'll just end there. But there are so many branches that we shall encounter as we move on with learning biology. So basically what we have done today is to discuss that biology is a branch of science that deals with the study of living organisms. We have seen two main branches of biology, that is botany, the study of plants, and zoology, the study of animals. We have also said that these are not the only branches. There are other branches such as microbiology, study of microorganisms. These are the organisms that are too tiny to be seen with our naked eyes. We can only see them with a microscope, bacteria, and so on and so forth. We have genetics, the study of inheritance and variation. Ecology, the study of living organisms and their interaction with the environment. We have entomology, the study of insects. Pathology, the study of disease-causing microorganisms. Ornithology, the study of birds. Ichthyology, the study of fishes. Cytology, the study of cells. We have seen biotechnology, the study of development of techniques that are applicable in various processes. And then biochemistry, the study of chemical compounds found in living organisms. So basically those are some of the main branches that we have. So we are going to have a short assignment on this. So the first question, what is biology? You'll get that from what we have covered today. Name the two main branches of biology, that is the main ones. What is genetics? B, biotechnology, and C, anatomy. So we are going to stop there for today. We'll continue from there next time.
Enroll your child to the manifested e-learning platform and see their grades grow tremendously. These videos can be downloaded to a laptop for offline viewing or viewed from a smartphone in a course-friendly format.
Hello learners, welcome back to Manifested e-learning platform. I'm Philip, your social studies teacher. And we are still in physical environment, covering the map. Physical environment. We are still in physical environment. Physical environment. And in today's session, we shall be majoring on administration. 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 What do I mean by administration? Administration in a map means who's in charge of that area. Remember, each area has to have somebody who is in charge. And those people who are in charge of areas or certain areas of given jurisdiction, we call them administrators. And to start, let us write the administration hierarchy that we have. For instance, if we normally, the smallest hierarchy we have is a village. A village. Many villages makes a sublocation. Sublocation. Many villages makes a sublocation. Many sublocation makes a location. Many location makes a division. Makes a division. Many division used to make a district, but right now they make what we call a sub-county. Sub-county. And many sub-county, of course, will make a county. And in case you'd want to add another one, is that many counties makes a country. Many counties make a country. This is the administration hierarchy. That's the very first thing that we are supposed to know. Maybe before we illustrate whatever we are doing here in a map. This is administration hierarchy, and maybe to give them the titles of the people who are in charge of these hierarchies. Who is in charge of a village? This one is a village headman or elders. Okay, this one depends on the community. Some community have village elders, others have village headmen as the people who are in charge of that village. Sublocation, we have an assistant chief. Assistant chief. We used to call him a sub-chief, but that word sub no longer exists. We use assistant chief. And location, we have a chief. This one still is under a chief. A division was under a DO. That is a district officer. District officer. District officer. district officer, DO. But in the due dispensation, he is called ACC, Assistant County Commissioner. Assistant County Commissioner. Then we have sub-county. Sub-county, we have Sub-County Commissioner. Sub-County Commissioner, also known as Deputy County Commissioner. Sub or deputy, or deputy. Sub or Deputy County Commissioner, Deputy County Commissioner or Sub-County Commissioner for sub-county. And county, we have County Commissioner. County Commissioner. County Commissioner. And I want to sound a very early warning. When we are talking about administration in the county, we don't talk about the governor. That is the biggest mistake pupils make when it comes to the hierarchy of administration. Administration are the people who represent the national government in an area. And here they are. They represent the national government in an area. They represent the president in an area. In county, who represent the national government? County commissioner, not the governor. The governor is the head of the county, but not the senior administrator. Administrator are the people who represent the national government and the president in an area. So county commissioner is the administrator of the county. Not the head of the county, the administrator of the county. Sub-county commissioner or deputy county commissioner, he's the administrator of the sub-county. District officer or the assistant county commissioner, he's in charge of the division. Chief, in charge of the location. Assistant chief, in charge of the sub-location. Village headman of the village elders, in charge of the village. What are they supposed to do as they represent the national government in those areas? In most cases, they are in charge of security. Security. So who is in charge of security in a village? Village elders. They are the people who are supposed to arrange for the security. In the sub-location, who is in charge of security? Is the administrator there, assistant chief. Who is in charge of security in a location? It is the administrator of the location. Who is the chief? These people are in charge of security. And it is very, very important to note their work is to provide security in that area. Security. Security in that area. So this is the first step. The hierarchy of the administration. The areas, the administrators. And I'm very specific. I'm not using the name heads. The administrators. Because this one is administration hierarchy. Now, let's go to the map. Using the information here. And we are supposed to know who is the administrator of a map, a given map. So when the question is getting to know the administrator of a certain area, there are two things that can tell you. There are two things that can indicate or can help you identify who is the administrator of an area. Which are those two things, or who are those two people, or which are the two things? Number one, we use offices. Offices or an office. If you want to know who is an administrator of an area, go for the office in that map, in that area. If there is no map, then go for the boundary. Go for the boundary. these two things are the ones that will tell you this area is headed by who? This area is headed by who? Or again, they will also tell you this area is likely to be which area? Is it a location? Is it a sublocation? Is it a county? Is it a sub-county? So let's start from the office. Let's mention something about using an office or offices if they are many in a map. Let me give an example. We have a map here. We have a map here, for instance. We have a map here. This is a very good map that we can use to demonstrate. And we have a chief camp there. We have a chief camp there. A chief camp is an office. Now that we want to know the administrator using the office. So who is the administrator of this area? Using the office, we have an office of a chief camp. Chief camp is for a chief. So the person in charge, they are in charge of administering this area is a chief because we have a chief camp. We have used an office. But I have to mention something else about an office. What if there were two chief camps? Our first example, there was only one office, so the administrator was a chief. Now, our second example, we have now two chief camps, or maybe 3 or 4. That means this area is made up of 2 locations because chief is the head of location. 2 chiefs, 2 locations. 2 chiefs, 2 locations. A location, many locations makes a division. So this area is no longer now a location. Let us do like it is a mathematical question. 1 chief camp, this area is headed by a chief because it is a location. That was example number 1. Example number 2, let me use a different color. Example number 2, what if there are 2 chief camp? What if there are 2 chief camp? A chief camp plus a chief camp, that means that area is a division. A chief camp plus a chief camp, that's a division. Who is the head of a division? A DO. A DO. Or in the due dispensation, ACC, Assistant County Commissioner. Now, another example about the same. What if there was 2 chiefs camp and somewhere in the middle or somewhere in the map there is CC standing for County CCO, County Commissioner's Office. County Commissioner's Office. In that sense, you go for the highest office in that map. You will not now go for the chief's camps, you will go for the ultimate, the highest office in the map. So this area, if it has a CCO, that is County Commissioner's Office, this means this is a county and it is headed by a county commissioner. A county commissioner. is headed by a county commissioner. These are the three things that you really need to differentiate when it comes to using of an office or offices to know the administrator. We started, if it is one chief camp, the area is a location, the head is a chief. If they are two, you do some mathematical additional. A chief camp plus a chief camp. Or a chief plus a chief, that's a DO. A chief camp plus a chief camp, that's a division. According to the hierarchy. But if there are more than one office, and they are different office, you go for the highest office in the area. You go for the highest office in the area. Now, using a boundary, let's go now to using of a boundary to get the administrator. Using boundaries. Using a boundary. 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 Let us now illustrate. We have illustrated how you use an office to get the administrator and the area. Let us now illustrate how to use a boundary. Number one, for a start, let us have an example of a map. Let me have a simple map. A simple map. Matter of fact, I can have several. Let me have like three maps so that I can demonstrate using different maps. We want to use a boundary, not an office this time round. A boundary to know who is in charge of the administration and also to know that area is likely to be a what? Let us have a boundary there. A boundary there. It doesn't have to be one line of a boundary. It can be like this one, for instance. A boundary can be dividing that area into several subsections. It can be, these are examples of boundaries in an area. Boundaries in an area. And it can be dividing an area into very many sections. Now, this is a boundary, this is another boundary, this is another boundary. This one is dividing this area into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. 1, 2, 3 sections. 1, 2 sections. These are boundaries. What will you do with a boundary to get to know the administrator? First thing first, go to the key. Remember, each map has a key. Go to the key and identify which type of boundary is this one. For instance, this one is a sublocation. According to the key, this one is a sublocation boundary. Sublocation boundary. According to the key of this map, this is a sublocation boundary. What's the meaning of that? That means that this is a sublocation 1, this is sublocation 2. Because these are it is dividing, the location is a sublocation boundary. So this is a sublocation, this is another sublocation. And if this is a sublocation and this one is a sublocation, then sublocation plus a sublocation, we have a location. So the area is a location. And a location is headed by a chief. Using boundary is very, very simple. Let's go maybe to the second boundary, and you go to the key. The key of this map again, maybe this one, it is a divisional boundary. Is a divisional boundary. According to the key of this map, this is a divisional boundary. Where did you get the name divisional boundary? From the key. So this is probably division 1, division 2, division 3. Many division makes a sub-county. So this area will be a sub-county headed by a sub-county commissioner. Headed by a sub-county commissioner. Very, very simple. Very, very simple using the boundary. Using the boundary, that this one will be a sub-county commissioner or a deputy county commissioner. I have another example for you here. You go to the key and what you find is this kind of boundary. And this boundary is written sub-county boundary. According to the key of this particular map, this boundary is sub-county boundary. Sub-county boundary. The key of this particular map tells you that these are sub-county boundary. So this one will be sub-county 1, sub-county 2, sub-county 3, sub-county 4. Many sub-counties make a county. So the whole of this area will be a county. And who is the head of a county? A county commissioner. A county commissioner in charge of the security. In charge of the security in that area. Now, that is exactly what you are supposed to know about administration. It's very, very simple. First of all, the hierarchy of administration. All the way from the village to the county. And the administrators. And I've explained, administrators, they represent the national government in those specific areas. And that is why in our administration, there is nowhere we have written the governor. These are national government administrators, and we have pointed out what they are supposed to do. And we have said that if you want to know who is an administrator of a certain area, or better still, if you want to know which area it is, there are 2 clues that you are supposed to use. Number 1, offices. Or number 2, boundaries. And we have gone through the office and we have said, if there is a single office, it is simple. If it is a chief camp and it is only one of them, then the area is a location and the administrator is a chief. What if there are 2 chiefs camp and no other office? Then simple mathematics. Very, very simple mathematics. A chief camp plus another chief camp, that means there are 2 chiefs, and 2 chiefs will not be the head of a location. Now we have a division, and a division is under district officer or assistant county commissioner. What if there are more than 1 office that are not the same? Simple. Go for the highest office according to the hierarchy. If there is an office of, there is a sublocation office, there is a location office, there is a division office, or probably there is also another sub-county office, you go for the highest. You go for the highest. And when we are using the boundary, we have said the main point is, first of all, identifying which boundary it is. Where will you get that interpretation from? From the key. So we have said, for instance, example number 1, this was a sublocation boundary, meaning this one is sublocation 1, sublocation 2. Many sublocations will make a location, and a location is headed by a chief. In the second example, I have given that this boundary is a divisional boundary, meaning this division 1, probably division 2, division 3. Many divisions will go to a sub-county. So this area is a sub-county under sub-county commissioner. And I've said he doesn't have to be a sub-county commissioner. Sometimes he will be a deputy county commissioner. And lastly, we have said maybe this one is a sub-county boundary, dividing this this area into 4 sub-counties. Sub-county 1, sub-county 2, sub-county 3, sub-county 4. Many sub-counties, according to our hierarchy, we go to a county. So this area is a county, and a county is under county commissioner in charge of security in that area, in representing the national government, representing the president. And that is that for administration. Maybe for your personal work, for your revision exercise, can have something for you. And please remember to submit your work into this platform. Your assignment, let me give you a simple assignment so that you can use the knowledge that we have an assignment. The assignment that maybe, let's have a map. Let us have 2 map. Let us have 2 map. Let's have 2 map so that at least one for the boundary, one for the office, one for the boundary, one for the office. And our boundary looks something like that. And our offices here, we can use a chief camp there and a sub-county office there. Chief's camp, sub-county office there. And your simple question will be, here, let me use red. Question 1. This area is likely to be a what? Which kind of an area is this one? Is it a village? Is it a county? Is it a division? Question 2 here. Question 2 here. And question 2 is who is the senior? Who is the senior administrator? Of the above area. Of the above area. Who is the senior administrator? But here about the second one, I have to mention maybe this one is a locational boundary. Is a locational boundary. Is a locational boundary. I have to give you, now that there is no key, I have to mention which type of a boundary it is so that you can be able to make your judgment correctly. So these 2 examples are enough to give you an oversight of what we have gone through. Question number 1, this area is likely to be a what? You have the offices. Chief's camp's office, sub-county offices. So with the knowledge we have learned, you can be able to get that one at ease. Number 2, using a boundary now. Who is the senior administrator of the above area? who is in charge of administration in this area. Perhaps I would have said this is area A, area B. And with that, our lesson is over. Please submit this on in our platform. God bless you. See you in our next session. Adios.
Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello learners, welcome to this lesson. It is Chemistry Form 2 and the topic is Chemical Families and Patterns in Properties. If you remember in the previous lesson, we discussed the chemical families and we discussed a brief about the alkali metals. We said they are also called group 1 elements, and we also wrote the electron arrangement of the first 3 group 1 elements. Lithium was the first element. We said the configuration is 2, 1 because it has 3 electrons. The second was sodium. The configuration was 2, 8, 1. And the third was potassium. And the configuration was 2, 8, 8, 1. Since that the reason why they are called group 1 elements is because they are having 1 electron in the outermost energy level. And the 1 electron enables them to be placed in group 1. If you look at those 3 elements, that the sizes are different, that lithium is the smallest and potassium is the largest, depending on the number of energy levels which are present. That lithium has 2 energy levels occupied by electrons, sodium has 3 energy levels occupied by electrons, and potassium is the largest with 4 energy levels which are occupied by the electrons. And therefore, that's why we are saying that the size of potassium is larger than the size of sodium, and the size of sodium is larger than the size of lithium, depending on the number of energy levels which are occupied by electrons in each atom or in each element. In this lesson, I want us to discuss the gradation in size of atom and ion. Gradation in size of atom and ion. Remember, this is gradation in size of atom and ion of alkali metals. So gradation just means there's a systematic progression. A systematic progression on the size of atom and ions in group 1 elements. And I will explain this using a table which I'm going to draw for you so that we discuss it from there. This table is having the element. Therefore, that is the table. I want us to look at the gradation in size of the atom and the ion of alkali metals. These are the alkali metals. So the alkali metals are lithium, sodium, and potassium. Then their symbols, the letters are not supposed to be touching one another. So we have lithium, sodium, and potassium. Those are the symbols. The atomic number, lithium has atomic number 3, sodium has atomic number 11, and potassium has atomic number 19. Then writing the electron arrangement, these ones we have already written or we discussed that in the previous lesson. So lithium has configuration of 2,1, sodium 2,8,1, then potassium 2,8,8,1. Then we look at the atomic radius, that the sizes of the atom and the ion, these ones are too small, and hence you cannot be able to measure them in the laboratory because their sizes are too small. You can see the units of measurements, they are nanometers. Nanometers are very small units. You cannot be able to measure them. It's too difficult because their sizes are too small. The sizes of the atoms of these metals or these elements are too small. So you cannot be able to measure them unless under special special places. So the atomic radius are measured in nanometers. If you look at the atomic radius, lithium atomic radius 0.133. That is the atomic radius of lithium. Then sodium, the atomic radius is 0.157. Potassium, the atomic radius is 0.203. The ionic radius for lithium is 0.060. Then for sodium, the atomic radius is 0.095. And for potassium, the atomic radius, not atomic, but ionic radius is 0.133. If you look at the atomic size and the ionic radius sizes, then both are increasing down the group. So we can say that atomic radius, we need first of all to define what atomic radius is. This is the distance from So atomic radius refers to the distance from the center of the nucleus of an atom to the outermost energy level occupied by the electron or electrons. For example, if this is an atom, this is an atom, this is the energy level. This is the nucleus of that atom. Let's say atom is lithium. So the lithium atom, this is the first energy level. The first energy level has 2 electrons, and the outermost energy level has 1 electron because the configuration of lithium is 2-1. So 2 electrons in the first energy level and 1 electron in the outermost energy level. Therefore, the atomic radius is now the distance from the center of this nucleus to the outermost energy level. So the distance from here to here, that is what we are calling the atomic radius. So refers to the distance from the center of the nucleus of an atom to the outermost energy level occupied by an electron or electrons. So this is an atom of lithium. An atom of lithium looks like that. Then when you talk about the ionic radius, we are referring to the radius of these elements having undergone ionization or having formed ions. And these elements, they form ions by losing 1 electron in the outermost energy level. Group 1 elements So group 1 elements form ions by losing 1 electron in the outermost energy level. Therefore, if they lose electrons or they form ions by losing electrons in the outermost energy level, they become ions. And when they become ions, then the number of the energy levels are going to reduce. So they are going to be like this. So lithium is an atom. When lithium loses one electron in the outermost energy level, then it will be positively charged. And the reason why it is positively charged is because it now has more protons than electrons. It has more protons than electrons. Remember, the atomic number is 3. The atomic number being 3, it means that it has 3 protons and 3 electrons. 3 electrons in the atom. When it forms ions, it has lost the 1 electron in the outermost energy level. So there are more protons than electrons. So the difference is just 1, and that's why it becomes positively charged, because you see that protons are positively charged. Protons being positively charged and electrons are negatively charged. Therefore, the net charge when lithium or any alkali metal loses 1 electron, then they become positively charged. Therefore, the configuration or the electron arrangement of this lithium ion will be 2. Then we have sodium. That sodium, when sodium loses 1 electron, it will also become a sodium ion, just having a charge of a positive, because after losing 1 electron, it has 10 electrons remaining and 11 protons in the nucleus, and therefore the net charge is a positive. Therefore, the configuration will be 2, 8, because it has lost 1 electron in the outermost energy level. For potassium, again it will be potassium ion, and once it loses 1, the configuration will be 2, 8, 2, 8, 8. So those are the electron configuration of ions or group 1 elements when they lose or when they form ions. And they form ions by losing 1 electron in the outermost or from the outermost energy level. So you can see that these were the electron configurations of the ions. These are the electron configurations of atoms. These are the electron configuration of ions. And therefore, you can see that if you look at the atomic radius, or if you compare the atomic and ionic radius, then you can see there is a decrease in the size. But first of all, let us start with the atomic radius. How does the atomic radius of alkali metals compare? How does the atomic radius of alkali metals compare? So the atomic radius of alkali metals increase down the group. The atomic radius of alkali metals increase down the group. This is because there is an extra This is because down the group, there is an extra energy level occupied by the electrons. If you look at the atomic radius, that this is 0.0133, 0.157, 0.203. So there's an increase down the group. And we have explained this by saying that the reason why the atomic radius is increasing down the group, it is because down the group there is an additional or there is an extra energy level which is occupied by the electrons. If you look at lithium, this has 2 energy levels occupied by electrons. Look at sodium, has 3 energy levels occupied by electrons. And if you look at potassium, it has 4 energy levels occupied by the electrons. And therefore, you can see as you go down the group, and going down the group means from up going downwards. So there's an extra energy level occupied by the electrons. So the number of energy levels increase as you go down the group. The next is ionic radius. Ionic radius increase down the group. This is because so again, ionic radius increase down the group, and this is also because down the group there is an additional energy level occupied by the electrons. And this one can be explained using what I have written here, that lithium, after forming ions, has been left with 1 energy level. Sodium, after losing 1 electron, has been left with 2 energy levels. Potassium again has been left with 3 energy levels. And initially, lithium had 2, sodium 3, potassium 4. So again, as much as all of them have lost, that all the 3 elements, each element has lost 1 electron from the outermost energy level. So still, the ionic radius down the group still increases, because down the group there is increase in an additional, or there's an additional energy level which is occupied by the electrons. And that's why the ionic radius also increases, just like the atomic radius down the group. And the other thing I want us to discuss is comparison between the atomic radius and ionic radius. Comparison between atomic radius and ionic radius. So if you look at the atomic radius and ionic radius, for lithium, the atomic radius is 0.133. The atomic radius of the same lithium is 0.060. So you can see the atomic radius is larger than ionic radius. For sodium, again, atomic radius is 0.157. Then for ionic radius, the ionic radius is 0.095. Again, the atomic radius is larger than the ionic radius. For potassium, the atomic radius is 0.203, and the ionic radius is 0.133, showing you that in alkali metals, all group 1 elements, that the atomic radius is always larger than the ionic radius. And the reason is that atomic or group 1 elements form ions by losing 1 electron from the outermost energy level. Therefore, group 1 elements which we are calling alkali metals form ions by losing one electron from the outermost energy level. They form ions by losing one electron from the outermost energy level. Therefore, once that one electron has been lost, the remaining electrons are pulled much closer to the nucleus. Therefore, so the remaining electrons are pulled much closer to the nucleus due to the higher nuclear charge. What I mean is that once this, okay, the atomic number is 3, for lithium is 3. It forms ions by losing one electron. Once it loses that one electron, 2 electrons are remaining. 2 electrons are now remaining in only one energy level. How many electrons are there in the nucleus? There are 3. So if this is a lithium atom, that here we have 3 protons which are positively charged in that nucleus. So these 3 protons which are positively charged, they are now pulling the 3 electrons in the energy levels. So if one electron is lost during ion formation, then 2 electrons are remaining. Therefore, it means that the force 3 protons is pulling 2 electrons is higher than the force it would use to pull the 3 electrons. So there is more force, or the 2 electrons are pulled much closer, or they are pulled more than the 3 electrons. And that's why we are saying that group 1 elements, that they form ions by losing one electron from the outermost energy level, and therefore the remaining electrons after ion formation, they are pulled much closer due to the higher nuclear charge at the nucleus. So this higher nuclear charge, and that's why the ionic radius for group 1 elements will always be higher. The ionic radius will always be lower than the atomic radius. Therefore, that is what I wanted you to understand in this. That when you are comparing, then use comparison terms, that the atomic radius is larger than ionic radius, then explain this way, that group 1 elements form ions by losing one electron from the outermost energy level, and therefore the remaining electrons are pulled much closer to the nucleus. We would have started by saying that the atomic radius is larger than ionic radius. Therefore, the atomic radius is always larger than the ionic radius, because group 1 elements form ions by losing one electron from the outermost energy level, and therefore the remaining electrons, they are pulled much closer due to the higher nuclear charge at the nucleus. Therefore, that brings us to the end of our lesson today. But before that, I need to give you the assignment, and the assignment is that's assignment 1, define an atomic radius. So you should be able to define because we have done that. And second, compare the atomic and ionic radius of alkali metals. You should be able to do that. So ensure that you've done that before you meet in the next lesson. In the next lesson, we'll be discussing the physical properties of alkali metals. Thank you for participating in the lesson. See you in the next lesson. Bye.
Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello learners, welcome to our today's lesson. We are learning chemistry form 2. The topic is chemical families and patterns in properties. In our previous lesson, we discussed the reaction of alkali metals with water, where we say that when alkali metals react with water, they lead to formation of an alkaline solution, that is hydroxides of these metals, and hydrogen gas is produced. So I hope you still remember those reactions. You can be able to write the chemical equation. But still remember that I left with the assignment, and the assignment was to write balanced chemical equations for the reaction between lithium and water, sodium and water, and reaction between potassium and water. I hope you have done that. In this lesson, we are going to look at or discuss the reaction between alkali metals and Crinoline gas. So reaction between alkali metals and Crinoline. Therefore, I will start by maybe giving you a small demonstration or illustration on that. So experiment. And the aim of this experiment is just ask yourself the reaction, or is the reaction between sodium and Crinoline. Reaction between sodium and Crinoline. So if we have a simple procedure, the procedure would be first you cut a small piece of sodium metal and put it on a defraggrating spoon. So cut a small piece of sodium metal and place it or put it on a defraggrating spoon. Remember, we said that alkali metals are reactive metals, and therefore you should use small pieces. Defraggrating spoon, I hope you still remember in Form 1, was one of the apparatus we learned in Form 1, and they said that a defraggrating spoon is used for holding substances as they are being burnt. So defraggrating spoon. Then warm the piece of sodium. Warm the piece of sodium and lower it into a gas jar containing chlorine gas. So after warming the piece of sodium metal which is on a defraggrating spoon, there's a process now to lower it into a gas jar containing chlorine gas. There's a disclaimer here, there's a precaution. that this experiment should take place in a fume chamber or on an open place. The reason is chlorine gas is very poisonous. Chlorine is a poisonous gas, and therefore this experiment should take place in a fume chamber or in an open place. Remember, this chlorine can affect your respiratory system, and therefore that is why you should not come into contact with it. So carry the experiment in a fume chamber. When sodium, or the warm piece of sodium metal which warmed on a deflagrating spoon, then you lowered it into a gas jar containing chlorine, then a reaction is going to take place, and this reaction will lead to, the reaction leads to formation of white fumes. The reaction leads to formation of white fumes, and the white fumes is now sodium chloride. Then the equation for the reaction will be sodium reacts with chlorine gas, leading to formation of sodium chloride solid. Therefore, to balance the equation, you need a 2 and another 2. Therefore, the color of sodium chloride is white. That is the color of sodium chloride. It is white in color. So that's what happens when you do this experiment. Remember again, I've told you that always use small pieces of these metals because sodium is a very reactive metal, and it is highly reactive. Remember again, in the previous lesson we said it is very vigorous, or the reaction is more vigorous. Therefore, it can even explode into a flame, and therefore use small pieces. And remember always, experiments involving poisonous gases should take place in a fume chamber. So therefore, that is how sodium reacts with chlorine gas, and that's what I wanted you to understand in this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to discuss the reaction between chlorine and lithium, and also the reaction between chlorine gas and potassium. But I will leave you with this question, and the question is, write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction between chlorine gas and sodium metal. Chlorine gas and sodium metal. So write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction between chlorine gas and sodium metal. The next lesson, we are discussing the reaction between lithium and chlorine, and also potassium and chlorine. Meet you in the next lesson.
Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Welcome to Manifested Online Classes. I am Teacher Purity, and we are still continuing with our topic on use of medicine. So we are going to learn the precautions when handling medicine at home. Now, during the last lesson, we learned about the common forms of medicine that are found at home. Welcome to the lesson, and hope that you will enjoy. Now, precautions when handling medicine. The things you are supposed to observe when handling medicine. Now, in our previous lesson, we discussed about the common forms of medicine that are found at home. And we say that at home you can get different forms of medicine like capsules, tablets, syrups, ointment. We also have inhalers and eye, ear or nose drops. Those are the common forms of medicine that are found at home. Remember that ointment, we apply it on the skin, and we apply it on a skin where you have a bump or a swollen skin. Now I want to see the precautions when handling medicine. How do you handle medicines at home? You want to take medicine. What are you supposed to do? The first thing, when you want to take your medicine, make sure that you have handled medicine with clean hands. So number 1, handle medicines with clean hands. Why are you supposed to handle medicine with clean hands? Remember, if there are tablets, you want to swallow them. And when you handle it when your hands are dirty, you'll swallow the medicine but you'll not get well. Because that you're supposed to observe when handling medicine is keeping medicine away from children. Keeping medicine away from children. Keeping medicine away from children. Children are very playful at home, and when you do not store your medicine well, they are going to get the medicine and even play with the medicine or take it instead of following the instructions. So keep all medicines away from children. Then another precaution that we observe when handling medicine is not sharing medicine. Not sharing medicine. You are not supposed to share your medicine with anyone else, because all of us suffer from different sicknesses or diseases. So when you share your medicine, you are not following the doctor's instruction. Another precaution that you are supposed to take when handling medicine is using clean water when taking medicine. Use clean water when taking medicine. Use clean water when taking medicine. If you are supposed to swallow your medicine, make sure that you are using clean water. Another precaution when handling medicine, number 5, is taking the dosage as prescribed. Taking the dosage as prescribed. Taking the dosage as prescribed. When the doctor has told you to take 2 tablets in the morning and 2 tablets in the evening, don't take 2 tablets in the morning, then you fail to take in the evening. It is always good to follow the doctor's instruction, because you'll get well very soon. So taking the dosage as prescribed. Learn to follow the doctor's instructions. And lastly is proper storage of medicine. Proper storage of medicine. So proper storage of medicine. Make sure that you are keeping your medicines at a safer place. Now these are some of the precautions when handling medicine. The first one, make sure that you wash your hands before you handle the medicines. Number 2, keeping medicine away from children. Keep the medicines away from children because children can easily play with the medicine and some can even swallow the medicine, which is not good. Number 3, not sharing medicine. Make sure that when you have been given medicine by the doctor, you are finishing the medicine. Don't give it to any other person. You are the one who is sick. And number 4, use clean water when taking medicine. When you are taking your medicine, make sure that you are taking the medicine with clean water. Number 5, taking the dosage as prescribed. Follow the doctor's instruction. If the doctor told you to take 3 tablets in a day, make sure you are taking 3 tablets in a day and not 2 or 4. Don't take more or less. Take what has been instructed. And lastly, proper storage of medicine. These are the precautions when handling medicine back at home. Try to practice them. When you have medicine at home, you should know that you are supposed to put it at a certain place. You know that you are not supposed to share the medicine. So I'll write some questions for you on the board. Copy them in your exercise books and make sure that you also answer the questions. Now the instructions, choose the correct answer from the brackets to fill in the gaps. Number 1, we should use dash water when taking medicine. Clean, dirty. Select the correct answer and fill in the blank space. Question 2, store medicines dash from children. Away, near. You select for me the correct answer. Number 3, we take dash when we are sick. Juice, soda, medicine. So you select for me the correct answer. And lastly, it is dash to share medicine. Good, bad. Select the correct answer and fill in the blank space. So finish the assignments and make sure that you are going through your work. Hope to see you in the next lesson when you are of good health. Goodbye.
Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello, my lovely learners. This is Manifested e-learning platform and I am Teacher Purity. We are going to learn hygiene and nutrition activities for grade 1. So we are starting on a new topic, personal hygiene, and under personal hygiene, we are going to learn about the use of toilets, latrines, and urinals. So welcome to the lesson and hope that you are going to enjoy. Now the use of toilets, latrines, and urinals. What are toilets? What are latrines? And what are urinals? Now, toilets, latrines, and urinals are the places where we go to relieve ourselves from our long calls and short calls. So, toilets, latrines, and urinals are places we go for our short calls and long calls. So, toilets, latrines, and urinals are the places we go for our short calls and long calls. When you are pressed with long calls or short calls, you'll visit a toilet, latrine, or a urinal. Let's start with the toilet. So, what is a toilet? Now, a toilet is a place where we go to relieve ourselves from our long calls and short calls. And toilets are found inside the house. So toilets are found inside the house, and most toilets have a large round bowl. So take a look of a picture of a toilet. Look at it very well. That's a toilet. And we flush toilets after use. So now after you've used the toilets, you are going to flush it. What is to flush? To flush is pouring a lot of water after you have used the toilet. We flush toilets after use. Then we have latrines. Now latrines are found outside the house. So latrines are found outside the house. So latrines are found outside the house, and a latrine is an open pit where you go and relieve yourself from your long call and short call, and they are always found outside the house. They are built outside the house. Now latrines have an open pit. Now latrines have an open pit. We have said that we flush toilets after use. What about latrines? After you've used it, what are you supposed to do? Now after using a latrine, you cover it. We cover latrines after using them. So we cover latrines. We cover latrines after use. So we cover latrines after use. You cover the part that it has an open pit after you have attended your short call or your long call. So on your screen there is a picture of a latrine. Make sure that you are observing it so that you can know the difference between a toilet and a latrine. And lastly, we have urinals. What is a urinal? Now, a urinal is a place where boys and men go and pass their urine. So, urinals are places where boys and men pass urine. So urinals are places where boys and men pass urine. It is strictly for boys and men, and they are only supposed to pass urine in the urinals. You cannot go for long calls in a urinal. You only go for short calls in a urinal, and boys alone and men are the ones who use urinals. Girls can use a toilet or a latrine. So this is how we are supposed to use toilets, latrines, and urinals. First, toilets are found inside the house, and we flush toilets after use. I said flushing is pouring water after you relieved yourself from your short call or your long call. Remember, if you do not flush a toilet, it will have a bad smell. Then, latrines are found outside the house. Latrines are always built outside the house, and they have an open pit. After using a latrine, you are also supposed to cover it after use. You cover the pit to avoid the bad smell which can come from the latrine. And lastly, we have urinals, which are used by boys and men to pass urine alone. So if you are a boy, make sure that if you visit a urinal, don't pass your long course in the urinal. That is a very, very bad habit. Pass urine alone in a urinal. Girls, use a toilet or a latrine. So that's all for this lesson. I'm going to give you some questions. You will answer them and meet you next time. So this is the assignment, the instruction, fill in the gaps with the correct answer. You are going to choose the correct answer from what you have in the brackets and fill in the dashes from question 1 up to question 4. So number 1 reads, boys and men should use a dash to pass urine. The answers in brackets are latrine, urinal. So you select the correct answer and fill in the blank space. Question 2, we dash a modern toilet after use. Clean, wash or flush. So choose the correct answer. The third question, dash are found outside the house. Latrines, toilets. You write for me the answer. And lastly, it is a dash habit to use a toilet. Bad, good. Select the correct answer and fill in the blank space. So thank you for being good listeners. Hope to see you next time.
Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello learners, welcome to today's biology lesson. My name is Stephen Kariungi. Today we'll continue with our discussion on introduction to biology, a topic in Form 1, and today we are going to look at collection of specimens. What are specimens? Specimens are materials obtained from living organisms that are used for the study of biology. We can get specimens from plants, from animals, and from other living organisms so that they can enable us to understand biology better by using those specimens. So basically we can say that specimens are materials obtained from plants and animals to aid in the study of biology. Now, these specimens sometimes may be live specimens, whereby we may be required to collect specimens that are alive. For example, insects are live specimens for the study. Other times, we can collect specimens that are not alive. Maybe specimens such as leaves, such as roots, and so on and so forth. Now, when collecting specimens, especially the live specimens, there are some precautions that one needs to take. Some of the specimens can cause injuries. Things like the insects, some can sting, others can bite, others are poisonous, and therefore it is important to take precautions. So it is necessary to understand what are the precautions that are required during collection of live specimens. So the precautions required during collection of specimens, one, we are supposed to collect only the specimens that we need in our study to avoid wastage and destruction. So we should not go collecting specimens that we do not need. So we are supposed to collect only the required number of specimens. So to avoid wastage, we need to collect only the number that we require. Number two, during the specimen collection, we should not destroy the habitats or the homes of those specimens. So care should be taken that we should not destroy the habitats. We should not destroy the habitats of specimens being collected. We will need those habitats in future. Now, when collecting live specimens, care should be taken about those specimens that can cause injuries. They should be handled with care, and they should be handled with the right equipment. For example, if an insect can sting, it's advisable to use the forceps to hold that particular insect or to collect that particular insect. So when collecting injurious specimens, care should be taken by use of appropriate equipment or apparatus. Now, after collecting the specimens and after carrying out the study, live specimens should be returned back to their habitats unharmed, without being harmed at all. So after study, or after the study, the live specimens should be taken back to their habitats unharmed. So we should make sure that those specimens are not harmed at all. Now, we also have some specimens that are highly mobile, that move very fast, like the centipedes. So for those highly mobile specimens, they should be immobilized. They should be slowed down using particular agents so that they can be caught easily. So highly mobile live specimens should be immobilized. Should be immobilized using suitable reagents before collection. So basically, those are the precautions that one requires during the collection of specimens. Now, it is also important to understand which are some of the apparatus used for specimen collection. Apparatus or equipment used we'll name a few. For example, we have the sweep net. This one is for catching flying insects, things like the wasps and so on and so forth. We have the fish net. This one is for catching fish and other animals in water. We have the bait trap. This one is for attracting and traps small mammals, e.g. rodents, such as the rats and the mice. We use the bait trap, whereby the bait attracts them and then they are caught by the trap. We have a putter that is used to suck small crawling animals from rocks or barks of trees, things like the aphids that can easily be sucked. They are sucked using a putter. We have the pitfall trap, and this one is for catching crawling animals which fall into a pit. We have specimen bottles, and these ones are for storage of specimen during collection. So the list is long. There are many apparatus, many equipment that we use during specimen collection, as we have seen. So basically today we have learnt about the precautions that we need to take during specimen collection, that we should not injure the specimen, we should not destroy their habitats, we should only collect the number that we need to avoid wastage. For those specimens that are highly mobile, they should be immobilized by use of suitable reagents before collection. And then finally, after we have completed the study, the live specimens should be taken back to their habitats to avoid, of course, destruction of the ecosystem. Now, also, we have learnt about the apparatus or equipment that we use for specimen collection. There is a sweep net for catching flying insects, the fish net for catching fish and other animals in water, bait trap, this one attracts and traps. So this one attracting and trapping small mammals, e.g. rodents such as rats and mice. We have a putter for sucking small animals from rocks or barks of trees. We have the pitfall, whereby we catch crawling animals by making them fall into a pit. And then finally, the specimen bottles that are for storage of specimen. So all those are part of the apparatus that we use for specimen collection. So we are going to have an assignment on that. So the first question in the assignment, state and explain 5 precautions that a student should take during specimen collection. Number 2, draw the following apparatus and state their functions. A, putter, B, forceps, and C, a bait trap. So we are going to stop there. See you next time.
Habari zenu tena wanafunzi na wakereketwa wote wa lugha ya Kiswahili. Leo tumekutana tena katika mawanda ya lugha ya Kiswahili. Na leo nitawapatia mdokezo kuhusu fasihi. Kuhusu fasihi. Kama nilivyotangulia kusema pale awali, fasihi ni somo mojawapo ambalo liko katika Kiswahili na limeorodheshwa katika karatasi ya 3. Karatasi ya 3 katika mtihani. Katika fasihi imegawanywa mara 4, lakini ni 3 kwa moja. Kwanza kabisa kuna fasihi andishi, halafu kuna fasihi simulizi. Katika fasihi andishi kuna vitabu viteule hapa ambavyo huwa kwa kawaida ni vitatu. Kitabu cha kwanza ni riwaya. Hii ni hadithi ya mfululizo wa moja kwa moja. Kuanzia mwanzo hadi mwisho, mwandishi ameandika yale aliyokuwa anataka kuwasilisha katika wasomaji wake ama hadhira ama umma katika mtiririko. Halafu kuna hadithi fupi. Katika hadithi fupi, huu ni mkusanyiko wa waandishi wale ambao wamebobea katika lugha ya Kiswahili. Na hapa kila mtu hupewa jukumu la kuandika hadithi yake kulingana na mazingira ya jambo ambalo amepewa azungumzie. Halafu hapa kuna tamthilia. Tamthilia ni mchezo wa kuigiza. Tunaweza kusema kwamba katika hivi vitabu vyote, tamthilia ndiyo iko na wahusika hai. Nasema wahusika hai kwa sababu gani? Hapa unaweza ukasimama kwenye jukwaa na kuweza kuelekeza maudhui ya mwandishi moja kwa moja, tofauti na hivi vitabu vingine. Ingawaje kwa sababu ya uchumi, kuna watu hivi sasa wameanza kuvifanyia mazoezi na wanavionyesha kwenye jukwaa. Lakini sana kabisa tamthilia ndio huwa iko na wahusika hai na mara kwa mara huwa inaonyeshwa kwenye jukwaa. Halafu katika fasihi simulizi. Katika fasihi simulizi, hiki ni kitabu tofauti kabisa. Kiko katika mtaala wa somo la Kiswahili. Na kwa sababu ya mageuzi ya mfumo wa elimu, sio kama zamani. Zamani kitabu cha ushairi ama shairi kilikuwa ni kitabu kiteule kama hapa. Lakini kwa sababu ya mageuzi ya mfumo wa kufunza lugha ya Kiswahili, swali katika shairi linatolewa katika kitabu chochote. Na si lazima kitoke katika kitabu. Mtu yoyote yule ambaye ni manju, malenga, hawa wote ni waandishi ama watunzi wa mashairi, wanaweza kupewa hilo jukumu la kuandika shairi, halafu we mwanafunzi unakumbana nalo. Katika fasihi simulizi upande mwingine, kama nilivyokuambia, ni kwamba hapa iko katika mtaala na huwa inazungumziwa kwa kina katika hivi vitabu vya kiada, yaani textbooks zile ambazo mnatumia. Kwa mfano, chemichemi ya Kiswahili, kingine ni Kiswahili fasaha. Hapo utapata kuna somo pale ambalo limetengwa mahususan kuzungumzia fasihi simulizi. Ijapokuwa kuna waandishi wakongwe ambao wamebobea katika fani ya fasihi. Mtu kama Profesa Wamitila ameandika kitabu kinaitwa Kichocheo cha Fasihi, ambacho kinazungumzia masuala ya fasihi simulizi peke yake. Kwa hivyo hizi ndio sehemu ambazo zinapatikana katika fasihi. Huu ndio mdokezo ambao ningependa kukujulisha kabla sijaingia kwa kina kuzungumza kitabu hiki cha fasihi ama cha hadithi fupi fupi. Nafikiria hadi hapo wanafunzi tuko pamoja. Baada ya kuzungumza kukupatia mdokezo kuhusu fasihi simulizi, wacha mwanafunzi niweze kukueleza, je, fasihi ni nini? Fasihi ni nini? Fasihi ni sanaa ya lugha ambayo mwandishi anaikusanya na kuingiza katika kitabu. Ingawaje wachache ama watu wengi wanafikiria kwamba fasihi ama usanii ama sanaa ni yule mtu tu anatunga wimbo na kuimba pale. La hasha. Hata yule ambaye anaonyesha sarakasi, ile ni sanaa. Kwa hivyo uandishi wa fasihi pia vile vile ni sanaa ambayo inakusanywa na kuwekwa katika maandishi. Hata katika shairi pia hii ni fasihi ama ni sanaa ya utunzi wa ushairi, ambapo maudhui ya hapa huwa mafupi sana, yako katika hali ya vifungu ambavyo tunaviita ubeti. Kwa hivyo mtu atakapokuuliza fasihi ni nini, mwambie ni sanaa katika fani ya lugha. Kwa hivyo fasihi ni sanaa katika fani ya lugha. Bila shaka nimekutoa maruweruwe ama ule usingizi ulikuwa uko nao kuhusu maelezo ya fasihi. Bila shaka tuko pamoja, wanafunzi na wakereketwa wa lugha ya Kiswahili. Sasa basi, baada ya kukueleza maana ya fasihi, ningependa tuzungumze kimoja ya kile kitabu kiteule ambacho kiko katika upande wa fasihi andishi. Na kitabu chenyewe si kingine ila ni Tumbo Lisiloshiba. Tumbo Lisiloshiba. Hii ni anwani ambayo imepewa katika hiki kitabu, ingawaje iko na mkusanyiko wa hadithi nyingine. Maanake ndio maana ikaitwa Tumbo Lisiloshiba na hadithi nyingine. Kwanza kabisa, kabla kuingia kwa undani, ningependa kukueleza kwa nini tumbo lisiloshiba. Nani hashibi? Kuna tumbo ambalo halishibi mwanafunzi. Bila shaka kama ingelikuwako tumbo lisiloshiba, ungekuwa alfajiri na mapema ukiamka tu wewe unaendelea kula mpaka mchana mzima, mpaka usiku mzima. Kwa hivyo hapa mwandishi alikuwako na lengo na madhumuni ya kuandika tumbo lisiloshiba. Kwa ufupi, katika lugha ya fasihi tunaweza tukasema hiki ni kinaya. Huu ni mzaha. Na pengine mwandishi alikuwako amelenga watu fulani ambao kwa hivyo tutaangalia kwa kina tumbo lisiloshiba, mwandishi wa hilo tumbo lisiloshiba, na ni lengo gani alikuwako yuko nalo mpaka akaandika hii hadithi fupi, na badala ya kuitafutia anwani nyingine sema tumbo lisiloshiba. Lakini kabla sijaenda hapo, wacha nikueleze maana ya tumbo. Tumbo sio mimba. Tumbo si tumbo kubwa. Ile tumbo kubwa tunaliita kiriba. Kwa hivyo hata mimi ambaye niko hapa, mimi sina tumbo, lakini tumbo kubwa, lakini bado niko na tumbo. Kwa hivyo tumbo ni sehemu ya mwili ambayo hubeba kila chakula ambacho kinapitishwa kupitia mdomoni. Na unapokula kile chakula, bila shaka kitendo cha mwisho ni kushiba. Na unaposhiba unaondokea na tumbo litaridhika. Lakini sasa sijui kwa nini mwandishi ametuelekeza tumbo lisiloshiba. Lakini hata hivyo usiwe na shaka, nitakueleza ni kwa nini mwandishi alisema hivyo. Katika fasihi andishi, nafikiria wanafunzi na wakereketwa wako na hicho kitabu Tumbo Lisiloshiba. Unapoangalia pale kwenye daraja, unakutana na ile anwani kubwa kabisa na hadithi nyingine. Unapoangalia pale chini, kuna bamu kubwa pale, amefinyanga chapati, unafikiria anataka kuziingiza zote, na tumbo kubwa na kijishati kimebana kwenye mbavu kule. Je, nikikuuliza hili ni tumbo linaloshiba kweli? Hili ni tumbo ambalo halishibi, na si ugonjwa, ni tabia. Tunapoangalia kuna vyakula vingi sana pale huyu bwana ameandaliwa. Kwa hivyo bila shaka ni tofauti ya mimi na wewe. Ungekuwa unataka chakula, pengine leo unasema unataka chapati. Unatengenezewa chapati, unakula pale kwa mchuzi, borohoa ama kitu chochote kile. Leo tunataka wali. Wali unaandaliwa kwa kuku. Lakini huyu bwana ameletewa vitu vyote kwa mkupuo. Kwa hivyo bila shaka kuna kitu kinamchochea. Ana tamaa, ana uchu. Kila mara anataka kuona chochote kile anachokikutana nacho anaingiza kwenye tumbo. Kwa hivyo tutakapoingia kwa undani tu, tutaona ni kwa nini ni tumbo lisiloshiba. Nafikiria mpaka hapo wanafunzi tumeelewana katika jalada ambalo linavyojitokeza katika tumbo lisiloshiba. Sijui kama tuko pamoja mpaka hapo. Kwa hivyo tumbo lisiloshiba ndio mojawapo ya hadithi ambazo tutazijadili hapa. Kama nilivyotangulia kukuambia kwamba huwa hadithi fupi, kila mwandishi amepewa mazingira ambayo atayazungumzia. Kwa hivyo hadi hapo, wacha tuangalie maudhui gani katika kila hadithi ambayo yanajitokeza katika tumbo lisiloshiba. Ni sawa wanafunzi? Mkusanyiko huu una maji. msomi hiki kitabu sio maji. Msomi mtiki la hasha. Kuna wale wakereketwa wa lugha ya Kiswahili ambao pia wanasoma yote yamezungumziwa hapa. Kama ni masuala ya dini pia vile vile unaelekezwa, manake kuna dini nyingine ndizo sivyo. Sitakwambia kama ni dini gani, lakini nimekuelezea kwamba masuala ya dini itazungumziwa hapa. Katika mapenzi, haswa nyinyi vijana ambao ndio sasa mnaanza kuingiza joto katika mwili wenu, utakuta ya kwamba mapenzi unaelekezwa kuhusu mapenzi. Na hapa labda kuna mwandishi hapa ambaye amezungumzia mapenzi na elimu. Je, hivi vitu viwili vitapatana? Kweli, kusema kweli havitapatana. Kwa hivyo pengine mwandishi anakuelekeza, kama umeenda kwa masuala ya kusoma, wewe soma. Mapenzi hayaishi bwana. Haya ni kama bahari. Bahari hakuna siku utaambiwa limekauka maji. Kwa hivyo hayo masuala yote yatazungumziwa hapa. Ni vyema nikutambulishe wale wahariri, ama kwanza kabisa wapigaji chapa wa hiki kitabu. Matibaa ambayo ni publishers. Matibaa waliopewa fursa kuandika kitabu ni watu wa Longhorn. Na halafu kilisafiriwa ama kilifanyiwa ufasiri na magwiji wa lugha, mtu kama Alifa Chokocho na Kayanda. Hawa ndio walichukua zile hadithi zote na kuzipitia na kuona kwamba hizi hadithi zinafaa. Hadi hapo wanafunzi, nafikiria tuko pamoja. Kwa hivyo moja kwa moja bila kupoteza wakati, wacha nikutajie baadhi tu ya wale waandishi ambao wameandika hizi hadithi ambazo zinapatikana wapi? Katika Tumbo Lisiloshiba. Kwanza kabisa kuna Said Ahmed Muhammad. Huyu ni mwandishi wa vitabu wa jadi sana. Kuna kitabu kama Utengano, Amezidi na kadhalika. Pia vile vile kuna Mapenzi ya Kifaurongo ambacho imeandikwa Keni na Wasike. Keni Wasike ndio ameandika Mapenzi Kifaurongo. Pia vile vile kuna Shogake Dada na Ana Ndevu, Alifa Chokocho. Shibe Inatumaliza, Salim Omar Ahmed. Mamake Bakari, Mohamed Halifa Gasar. Masharti ya Kisasa, Alifa Chokocho. Ndoto ya Mashaka, Ali Abdullah Ali. Kidege, Robert Odwor. Kizikeni na Nizikeni Papa Hapa, Keni Walibora, ambaye huyu hakuna nafikiria asiyemjua. Huyu ni bingwa wa lugha, Profesa Keni Walibora. Tulipokutana tena, Alifa Chokocho. Mwalimu Mustafa Dumu Kayanda. Halafu kuna Mtihani wa Maisha ambacho kimeandikwa na Eunice Kimaliro. Halafu na hadithi ya mwisho Mkubwa, Rashid. Halafu mwisho kabisa wale ambao hawajui msamiati, maskini wa usamiati. Umaskini si wa pesa tu, hata lugha pia unaweza kuwa nayo umaskini. Kwa hivyo huko mwisho kabisa utapata sherehe. Katika kila hadithi yale maneno ambayo yatakupa utata, bila shaka utakuwa umefafanuliwa na wamerahisisha mambo kabisa hapa wanafunzi. Kila ambacho mimi naona hawakufanya usawa ni kumpatia mwandishi mwanamke mmoja tu nafasi ya kuandika hii hadithi. Kwa hivyo hapo tusizingatie sana, lakini bila shaka watakuja. Kwa hivyo kama kuna mwanafunzi mwanamke, kama kuna mkereketo, swali wako sasa na wewe uchangie. Je, utasoma hadithi hizi? Hadithi hizi utazisoma vipi? Jambo la kwanza, ningependa kukutahadharisha wewe mwanafunzi. Wanafunzi wa kitabu kama hiki, mahususan ambacho kimeandikwa katika lugha ya Kiswahili kama Tumbo Lisiloshiba, badala ya kusoma kile kitabu, kusoma hadithi moja baada ya nyingine na kuielewa, yeye anakimbilia hiki kitabu mnakiita mwongozo. Hii kitabu mwongozo inakakana kwamba mwanafunzi umeambiwa wewe maswali yatatoka hapa. Huyu ujue ni mwanabiashara. Kama angekuwa mwandishi angeandika kitabu chake, lakini yeye alitegemea wale waandishi wako hapa watoe kitabu halafu yaandike mwongozo wa kuandika kwa njia fupi ambapo wewe sasa utarahisisha pale. Kwa hivyo unaponunua mwongozo ujue hutakuwa unasoma kitabu cha tumbo lisiloshiba.